Hey, what's going on everyone? Welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Hope everyone is having an absolutely fantastic day. If you've read the thumbnail, you've seen the title, then you guys already know it. You guys might have actually already seen it because I haven't, but today is delivery day. We are taking delivery of the 2020 C8 Corvette. I've had this car on order for about a full year now. It's actually a little over a year, 13 months, and today's delivery day. I haven't talked about the car on the channel very much, and that's because, quite frankly, I didn't know if I was going to be taking delivery of it at all because of everything that's gone on this year. But I got called from the dealership today. The vehicle is on site. I've done all the paperwork. So I'm just pretty much going to drive up there to take delivery. It's a 3-hour drive for me. It's going to be pretty instantaneous for you guys. I am really excited about this car. So we're pretty much just going to get right on the road. But the first question is what are we trading in today? Because one of these 3 cars has to go. It's definitely not the 99. It's also my favorite of the fleet. So one of these 2 cars is going. And unfortunately today it is going to be not the Raptor, but the Kia Niro. Yeah, so long story short, basically I didn't feel comfortable with the numbers that the Chevy dealership was giving me on the Raptor. I know I can get a better number from the Ford dealership, so I decided to bite the bullet on the Kia Niro. I'm taking a little bit of a loss, but I think it's worth it for what I'm getting in return. This car actually hasn't been on the channel. If anybody has questions about it, I'm definitely open to answering them, but basically this has been my daily driver for about 2 years now before I started YouTube. The Raptor has carried the channel on YouTube, but I hope that the Corvette kind of takes it to the next level. We're going to have a lot of fun with that car, but unfortunately today the Kia Niro is going to be going away. And in all honesty, in this price point, it is probably the single best daily driver car one can have. I've really enjoyed it. I consistently get north of 50 miles per gallon on a crossover utility vehicle. That's pretty much unheard of, and for what now this car, between a 2018 2019 model, you can get something around $19,000. This is one of the best bargain buys on the market if anybody's looking for just a beater daily driver. But for me, now that I'm working from home, this car doesn't serve a purpose, so we are going to trade this in for the C8 Corvette and hang on to the Raptor to have effectively what's going to be my dream driveway. All right guys, so I'm not really going to beat around the bush. We're just going to get right on the road and try to get up to the dealership and take delivery of this 2020 C8 Corvette. So we got off the highway here. I'm going to be at the dealership here in a couple minutes. I don't think I can film at the dealership, but I'm going to do all the paperwork and then just catch up with everybody on the other side. And we are here at McMulkin Chevrolet. If you guys haven't seen this dealership, it is probably one of the nicest dealerships that I've ever seen. The Corvettes are all parked on the 2nd floor. You can see a couple parked outside. So I will see you guys once I actually see the Corvette. Alright guys, so this is it. This is the 2020 Corvette that we have added to the channel. There's a lot of content to come on this car. I actually had my friend drive it out from the dealership. He's come with me to take part in this kind of little journey for me. This is a huge evolution for me in terms of the car journey. I've never thought in my wildest dream I'd actually own something like this. This car is just absolutely gorgeous in person. And I truly mean that. I'm a Ford fan, so to actually own a car like this for me is way out of my norm. I'm specifically a truck person, and I really think that this car is going to take us and the channel here on Jump Squad Auto to a completely different level. I'm going to make a lot of videos talking about the order process, the specific build. I just want to share my initial reaction of seeing this car in person. I've never actually sat in a Corvette, and the one thing I wanted today, I'm a little shy of recording at the dealership, but the one part of my friend driving the car out of the dealership was I want to record my experience of sitting in the driver's seat of a Corvette, any generation, for the first time. I've never owned a Corvette. I've never sat in a Corvette. I've never driven a Corvette. So this is the first time I'm going to be getting inside of a Corvette in the driver's seat. I drove in the passenger seat from the dealership to here, obviously, because I don't want to walk a mile, but you can smell some of the plastics just kind of heating up for the first time. But man, this is something. Here goes. Wow. They configured Z mode to be in track. I had kind of asked them to do that, but man, this interior, all the materials are just so refined, and the interior quality is really good. And I think this is where the C8 has come a long way from the C7. I honestly don't think there's a single cheap material in here. Maybe this little kind of black plastic, where if you went with the interior carbon fiber package, this would also be a premium material. Apart from that, this is just so amazing right now to be sitting inside of this car.
So there is stuff out there for sure.
And so being a Z51, it sure is different than the Raptor sound with that V6. And so as you guys can see, with the natural and black two-tone GT2 seats, such a nice and comfortable seat. And oh my god, it's a mid-engine. That right there is the engine behind us. And again, I know some of my videos have been more informative, a little bit more formal. This is more of just a vlog style video of me sharing my initial reactions sitting inside of the 2020 C8 Corvette. And again, this is my first time behind the driver's seat of a C8 Corvette, or any Corvette. I've never had a C7, a C6, a C4, any generation. It's my first time getting a Corvette. I've been a Ford person. And to say the least, the one thing that I really love about this is I did have a Cadillac Escalade, and the one thing that you can't beat is the smell of a new GM interior. This car smells absolutely amazing. I don't know how to describe it, but the interiors in these GM vehicles, they just always smell so good. And I'm just glad to have my own. I mean, look at that. Getting out of it, I'm still trying to figure it out. If somebody wants to give me some tips in the comment section, I still have no idea how to get in and out of this car. I just noticed the window kind of goes down a little bit and then comes up afterwards. But man, this car is beautiful in person. We went with the Spectre gray wheels with the yellow brake calipers. I plan on doing an engine appearance. Let me actually open the trunk up here and show everyone. So I did go with the engine appearance package. Oh, it smells like burning plastic. I did go with the engine appearance package mostly because I wanted the lights. I know you can get aftermarket carbon fiber surrounds for pretty cheap money. Compared to factory, it's still about $1,000, but you save a little bit of money going with the factory option. But I really just wanted the lights. I'm going to do something custom for the cover at some point. Surprisingly, it's very practical. We're going to do like a full walkthrough of how much storage and stuff you can put in here. I do plan on owning this car, so I think there's going to be a lot of more formal content and ownership experience to come. But most of all, I'm here to learn about the Corvette legacy. I've watched a lot of videos about this car, and to actually own my own for the first time really is something special. And if you are a Corvette savant, definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I can use all the guidance and tips and tricks that come with owning a Corvette in general, not specifically the C8. And so I really hope that you guys decide to take a part in this journey. The one thing I do want to say is that I want to give a special shout out and thanks obviously to McMulkin Chevrolet for making this dream possible. Everyone knows how hard it was to get this car, and today for the first time I'm taking delivery of my first supercar. I'm going to call it a supercar. I know that's going to throw everyone in the comment section for a complete spin, but I think it deserves that moniker. On its worst day, it's the upper echelon of a sports car, but it's definitely kind of in that supercar range on paper in terms of performance. The only place that it doesn't really be a supercar is from a price perspective, and you can't knock that because a supercar isn't about the price, it's about the performance. That's really the definition of a supercar, and this car is there as a base Stingray. The Z06 is just going to be like this completely different level of performance animal, but I think what this car offers you at this price point is really something special. On top of that, I additionally want to thank Rick Corvette Content, because he definitely kind of gauged every buyer's experience on YouTube with his videos, his informational how-tos, and I've really enjoyed watching his content and learn about Corvettes in more ways than just owning it, but really getting into the culture that is Corvette. And at the same time, I think another Corvette sales specialist that's helped me out a lot over this course of this ordering process and keeping me informed has been Morgan Crosby of Cars and Crosby. I'll link both those channels in the description, but if you are looking for really fun and cool Corvette content, definitely check out their other channels. And with that, guys, I think I'm just going to drive back home. I'm going to share some of my initial feedback and experience of driving this car with everyone on the channel. And again, there's a ton of content to come, but yes, this is the 2020 Corvette that is on the channel. I'm really close to getting monetized, so that's, I think the watch hours that this video and this car is going to generate in the next coming weeks is going to help us at least get to that legitimized platform. I actually can't even feel that it's like freezing temperatures are right now, and I've been kind of walking around the car for about 10-15 minutes. I am going to drive home with the top down, so let me get the top off and we'll just kind of see what that is. Like, let me figure out how to actually do that first, and then we'll kind of go from there. All right, so first time getting that top off. I'll kind of walk through that process at some point in some other video, but man, this is pretty cool to have both a hard top and kind of convertible. I do kind of wish I went with the HTC, but at the same time, I think this is going to be a really fun experience. So it's freezing outside. I'm going to turn the heat on and I'm going to drive home a couple hours. The first mods are already going to be underway in the coming days, so definitely stay tuned. Hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Again, there's going to be a full walkthrough of the entire car, the spec, all the features, my initial reactions, all that stuff is coming. But again, I'm not one of those drivers that's going to be driving around racing this thing. I actually think I'm going to be one of the typical Corvette owners that's going to be pretty much driving this on the weekends, enjoying the car for what it is and having fun with it. That's the biggest thing about it, is you have fun with this car, knowing that you're part of the Corvette family and the Corvette culture. And today's my first day as officially being a member of the Corvette family. So again, guys, thank you so much for making this possible. I wouldn't have taken this leap of faith taking on the payment for this car if it wasn't for YouTube. Alrighty, so sorry for the abrupt cut here, but I was kind of editing this video from yesterday. This is the delivery video, and I'm kind of just throwing in some content from the day after, and I realized that the entire video was just me geeking out about the car and really not providing any feedback. So I thought I'd take the time right now to pretty much just share some of my initial feedback. I've put about 140 or so odd miles on this car now. It was pretty much just the drive home. It was near freezing temperatures, but I drove the whole way home with the top down. It actually rained a little bit along the way, but because I was on the highway, it really just kind of went right over. And honestly, I have to say that after 140 miles and 24 hours of owning this car, it's probably one of the best driving experiences I've ever had, and I think anyone can really have for this price point. You really can't beat this car for what it offers for the price, and what blows me away is honestly how drivable and how tamed this car is on the road. The mannerisms and the way it handles itself and it carries itself, it's just very drivable. Like all cars, when you first get it, there's a lot of nuances that you kind of have to work through, but specific to this car, everything is just very intuitive and on point. And I have to say, Chevrolet and GM did an amazing job with this car. It's crazy to even imagine this is the base Stingray. So the Z06, the Grand Sport, the ZR1, these are all trademarks of the Corvette that are still to come, and the base Corvette is just so fun to drive. And I'm going to do a lot more content. I'm actually going to be losing the car for a week. I'm dropping it off for ceramic coating and the XPEL wrap. So I'm going to go ahead and share prices for all that information on the channel once I have that available sometime next week. So definitely stay tuned for more content. I thought I was going to have a hard time driving a mid-engine car for the very first time, but quite frankly, this is just a really good experience for a daily driver car. Something I've really fallen in love with is the fact that you can hold the two paddle shifters down and it drops it in neutral, and you can really just rev it. I'm not doing that too much because right now in the first 500 miles, you guys all know that the Corvette has a braking period, and so I don't want to rev too high. It only red lines at 3,500. If you're familiar with Corvettes, let me know in the comment section below if holding the paddle shifter down and putting it in neutral and revving it is bad for the motor. I can't imagine that it is. But specifically when you do that and it comes out of neutral, it's just such a smooth transmission shift that you don't even notice it. And I know a lot of people miss the ability to manually shift the transmission, but this dual clutch does a tremendous job of just kind of filling that void and giving you a good balance of precision shifting as well as some form of manual control for the enthusiast that wants to really shift themselves. But even on the back roads over here that I'm driving on, some windy roads, some up and down, some curves, this car just does so well. And it's hard right now to get this car even at a dealership to see in person, but in person it's so much more beautiful than any video is going to be able to capture it. The body lines are just so well sculpted and crafted that you really have to see it in person to appreciate the beauty of this C8 Corvette. on paper, this car gives so much performance that it really does compete with some of the supercars of the modern generation. It's not even something that came out in 2020 that competes with supercars from the early 2000s. It's really competing with some of the, you know, base level Audi RR8s, the base Huracan. It can kind of hold its own at this price point. That's amazing. And unfortunately, it's rainy. I feel like every time I take delivery of a car, the entire week is just straight rain. The first thing that I wanted to do when I got this C8 was put an aftermarket exhaust on there. I had picked out which one I wanted, but now after actually owning the car with the factory performance exhaust, this is a really good exhaust. In terms of blind spot, you do get a little bit of blind spot over on that side and kind of where the pillars are, but I think between the camera up top and the mirrors being where they are, you can kind of eliminate most of the blind spots to make this a really good daily driver. And again, I'm in that 500 period, so I don't want to beat it up too bad, but I am going to just kind of get on it. And it just sounds so good. It downshifts the second you get on it, and it's just gone. There's 3 or 4 things that I can't imagine anybody that buys this car doesn't end up immediately doing, because they're pretty much just must-haves. One of them is going to be expelling the rockers. I can understand not doing the front end of the car for some people, you know, depending on how you use it, how you don't. But even driving in the city, the salt isn't on the road where I am right now, and I can still hear at low speeds the rocks just kicking up and hitting the rockers. But I'm gonna feel a lot more comfortable once they have expel protection on just the rockers. I wouldn't do the entire car in expel. I don't see a purpose behind it, but I think the front kit is for added protection, but definitely the rockers, even if this is your weekend car. And I'll cover prices and stuff for all that later. With the top down, you hear the exhaust so much more. But anyways, with me editing the video, I did notice that I was pretty much just geeking out over the car and not providing any feedback. So I wanted to interject this little portion. I'll cut back over to the little nerdy, geeky version of myself from yesterday that's gonna outro you guys out. But again, thank you guys for watching, and definitely stay tuned for more Corvette content. And now back to me from yesterday. So with that, guys, thank you again for watching this video. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think of this car, this spec. And again, stay tuned for more videos. Thanks again. Until the next video, I will see you guys in the comment section below.